mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
NIBSS said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Super Business Landscape.
Hello and welcome to Super Business Landscape. My name is Chooks. John Rogers Chooks, and today happens to be a very beautiful Tuesday, and you see a whole lot of smiles, not just on my face, but here on this table as we celebrate goodness, we celebrate winnings, and we celebrate people that have made us proud on every aspect of the game. We'll get to talk about that. You also be part of this celebration within this show. Remember, we are here in Lagos. There are a lot of things that are happening when it concerns real estate and Lagos State constructing for low and medium earners. How is it affecting you? What exactly is playing in that field? We also go to immigration, what's happening in Spain. Top stories coming out of the States for those willing and looking forward to go birth a child there. What exactly should we be talking about? How has it happened before? And what exactly is Trump coming up with? These are news and stories that we'll talk about. Remember, this is the table, not just of men, of also a beautiful lady. So join me as I welcome on this table today, the fair one. Priya, how are you doing?
Good morning to you, Chooks. Good morning to you, the think tank. Good morning to you, Madam.
Good morning.
Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigerians. It's a beautiful day right here on Super Business Landscape.
Okay, then also on my right, he just perpetually stays on that particular side of the table. Your Excellencies, join me as I welcome the Oracle himself. Doc, welcome to Super Business Landscape.
Good morning, Chooks. Good morning, Swift. Good morning, Prayer.
Yes.
Good Nigeria, fellow viewers out there. I am viewing with you anyway.
That's his sport. Nobody takes that sport from me.
You can't move.
I'm viewing with you. I'm just here to see what is happening.
Okay. Yes, we also have the beautiful one. They are born now. They are not yet.
Yes.
They are present with us now. Swift, you're welcome to.
Good morning, Chooks. Fantastic introduction. Fantastic, praise. Thank you very much. They tell you that flattery will get you everything. They also tell you that the company you are amongst tells you how intelligent you are. So even if I'm not so brilliant, as I'm among, three very handsome, brilliant, amazing men, I stand out to look brilliant. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Africa. My name is Swift Adirito. I'll get ready to be blown away.
Oh, don't worry. Doc covers us.
Yes,
Doc covers us. Yeah, we'll go on a very short break, and when we return, we'll go to our very first story. Don't go anywhere.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
NIBSS said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Super Business Landscape.
Yes, there is no better way of starting Super Business Landscape than celebration. And for those that are wondering, yes, let me tell you what it is. Now, Falcons have gone, Falcons have won, but right now the celebrations has gone beyond the cup. Our president, Tinubu, he gave everybody a wild surprise yesterday. And we also went away from what it used to be before. So let me tell you the story. Now, Tinubu, our president, your president, because we have just one for now. President rewards Falcons, Super Falcons with honors, cash, house. Now, President Tinubu has honored the Super Falcons with national awards, cash prizes, and housing allocations after their 2024, that's the name of WAFCON, victory in Morocco. At the ceremony in Abuja, Tinubu conferred the Officer of the Order of the Niger, OON, on all 24 players and technical crew. Each player will receive mark it, $100,000, but in naira, mind you. While crew member will get $50,000. The president also approved 3-bedroom apartments for the team in the renewed Hope Housing Estate. That particular estate we are bidding for. People have already taken possession and allocation. Okay, now the Nigerian Governors Forum, the president representing them, that's the Kwara State governor, also donated 10 million naira to each player as appreciation for their achievement. Your Excellencies, distinguished lady and gentlemen, Morocco did all the bragging they could do, all the intimidation they could do, even coming with their laser lights to point at the players so that they will not see, and gave the Nigerian fans only one stand out of over 27. Yet the god of Nigerian soccer said, not today.
No, I think the god of football generally. Because sometimes, if you notice, when you intimidate one particular team too much, there's always a boomerang. When the referee seems to be cheating for a team, there's just a boomerang that comes sometimes when the god of football gets angry.
This particular was the god of Nigerian football. You know those who say, you shall not pass. 2 goals down and they came to equalize. Now the sad thing about it is that by the end of first half, a lot of people have already left and said, "Now this game is a lost cause." Even some particular reputable media houses were reporting that Nigeria has lost already. But we're not going there. So Doc, congratulations.
Congratulations, Nigerians. There's no better way to say it, that beyond the football and the sports, that this was just a fact of life. That it doesn't matter where you are at the moment. If you make up your mind, you will be celebrated. Yes. You see, even the president said, when I saw the second goal, I was offended already. Very offended. Because he said naturally he didn't want to watch again because he was afraid of high blood pressure. But unfortunately, when they came to the living room, they put on the TV and they put it to the station. So he had no option but to watch. Now watching, I saw 2 go down. He was really very offended and he became, very anxious. But when the first goal came through that penalty,
renewed hope.
Yeah. So, but I think it's quite very, very historic for us that 10 honors for our African girls, the Queens of Africa, and the celebration is worth it, really.
Okay. Why this particular celebration is worth it? Let's show you some visuals of where we are coming from. Just stay there.
Our First Lady, the proud mother of the day, my dear wife, Remi Tinubu, Executive Governor of Kwara, the Governor of Imo and Kaduna State, my dear friend, distinguished Senator Ningi, Chairman, House Committee on Sports, other members of the National Assembly here present, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, members of the Federal Executive Council, and other heads of government agencies here present, the Chairman of National Sport Commission, the victorious daughters of the country, and my special girls. It's just a joy to have you here, victorious, and looking well relaxed.
Yet the president had to address them and called them victorious. I think at this point in time we'll add that to their names.
Yeah, the victorious Falcons.
Now, let's look beyond the trophy they came with. That happens to be the new version of the trophy.
Yes.
That's the new make of the trophy. So we launched that particular one. So this is the 10th time we are winning this competition. They should just name the competition after us. So now let's look at what they got after this. Now the president has promised $100,000 each. So that's about 153 million. I'm in your head, you're calculating why did I not play football? Don't worry.
No, you should. It's actually, I was going to tell her, where were you when they were playing football?
Where were you?
Swift.
Okay.
Where was she?
Now the governor of Kwara State also is doling out 10 million each. This is going to replicate because most governors also come out to do something. Then you have very good Nigerians also that promised even before now. Where do you see these girls going to? Because before this particular time that we're seeing, we will see a whole lot of promises that were made that were never fulfilled. Yes. Be it to the Super Eagles, be it even to those that were before them.
True.
But now we are seeing a shift. Where do you see this going?
I think this is excellent. And, well, I would not say it's a strategy that this administration fabricated, but the administration had communicated something. He has made the promise. I don't think it's going to want to emulate previous administration who promised and failed, or who promised and it took a longer period of time to fulfill. I believe he's going to hit the ground running and give it to them. So, the renewed Hope housing scheme.
It was good.
You can see that is bringing in sports and the housing project. Is using it as a launching platform, or to equally attract, to bring in a certain presence into that place. And I like that because these are people that, with what is available to them, I don't think it's going to take a while for them to maybe develop their properties, or probably are going to get their houses, or maybe it's going to be built for them, or
it's built.
It's built already for them.
There are 2,000 units already built.
2,000 already.
So it just says allocate
this to them.
24 and 11. So you have 35 of them. 35 of those units already built. Allocate to them. Yeah.
So, and apart from that, that money, 153 million naira plus the 10 million naira each coming to those people, and including the $50,000 that is going to
the crew
members.
Crew.
Yes, I think it's going to increase fiscal liquidity. Yes, it's going to do that. So in 2013, former President Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan did the same thing to the Super Eagles at that time, and it went the way it did. Even before that too, I think our players have been made such promises, but it took such a long period of time. So the gesture of Mr. President is very, very laudable, and I think these ladies are being told something. You did us proud. You didn't just do me proud as a president. We do more than 200 million people as a country proud, because one thing I've always said, that when are we going to have the time where our players will be ready to go to the pitch and we'll have someone stand in front of these boys or these girls and talk? Yes, you've done the training, you have all the instructions on the table and all the strategies that the coach has set in place that you're going to do, but there needs to be this talking, that someone who knows how to weave words and to bring these boys or these girls' attention that look who you are. You are representing the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And trust me, forget some of the challenges we are facing. We are still the giant of Africa. We are a force to be reckoned with in the world. You are representing us. You are flying the green and white shirt of flag and that pitch. Just go do your job. If you see it as a job and the burden is just going to be too much, just go express your passion on that pitch and bring back the trophy. Someone did that. A nation did that. Their coach spoke to them, and guess what they did? They beat the Super Eagles some time ago. So we need someone to do that talking. If it's going to be a government official, good. If it's going to be a fella Toye, good. If it's going to be anyone that can stand in front of this boys and talk them into victory before hitting the pitch, I think we'll have a similar result. And that's my advice to our boys, because we need to replicate the feat.
Men always jealous when they see women celebrating.
Calm down.
We're talking about our girls. When did the men come into this conversation?
No, they have to. The men. You need to bring the men into the conversation, and it's not a way to spite the men, because we know that the girls are in.
Please, let's celebrate this girl.
Let's be happy and share.
Let's celebrate this girl.
I needed to put that across.
So let me continue.
Yes.
Some years back, if you remember, cast your mind back, we had this administrator that was managing basketball. And he, in his own wisdom, disbanded the team for reasons best known to him.
True.
The team on their own gathered themselves, funded themselves, and went ahead to go to a competition in Africa and won. Now we are having another competition in Africa, and that same team have come. And the president has already gone ahead to pay all their allowances before they even hit the field.
Yes.
What is changing?
Okay, so like you said rightly, this team is a miracle team. I listened to the interview of Esther Okoroko when she talked about the fact that she came in through the back door. She said, I was not officially invited to come play football, but because of visa limitations, when they went to play friendly in the US, she had to come. And that now came with the trio of the strikers who were crossing and doing an amazing job at the front line scoring these goals. Now, look at the case of Choma Joe, who was promised all these things and never got it. The truth is, this generation, they are not generations that sit down and say, oh, the government is not doing for us. Let's do. You can see that people are, especially, I will give shout out to the ladies, all the ladies out there, we are doing a wonderful job. Even when the world seems to be working against us, we are making a conscious effort to push ourselves and be in the forefront. She wasn't officially invited. Most of these girls had to sponsor themselves to some extent. And that was why the president, you see, there were critical things the president said in his speech when he first called them to congratulate them. All your allowances have been paid, because some of them had complained that they had to pay for their flights, they had to pay for their track by themselves. So the president was trying to say, look, I know that there has been a bit of negativity because some of you were not officially invited, and there was some kind of politics trying to go around. He said, but your allowances have been paid. He also said, even your coaching staff, their allowances have been paid, because there have been a complaint that sometimes they pay the girls, and the coaches, or especially the linesmen or those people who work, the nurses, who do so much, who massage these girls and put them mentally ready to play these games, their own allowances stay for 3-4 years without them receiving a kobo. So guess what? The president is saying they have been paid. That's number one. Number two, the housing project, like he said, fantastic option. I liked the fact, like you said, the president is marketing, says strategy. As much as he's giving it to them, he's saying, look, one, it's complete. Because some people have said, is it really complete? Everything has been given out to government officials, even if people are bidding. Like say, Elijah, the bidding is, so the president is saying, look, these things are available. Although there's a bid, I as a president can sit down and say, I'm giving this number of units, or this number of units of houses to certain people. So that's another one. Thirdly, there was so much backlash on the Tinubu administration that we never win anything. And that
are you part of the administration?
No, I'm just
so why are you going like we?
No, I'm saying I'm in Nigeria, so we. So they kept saying that since APC have come in, and Tinubu has come in, every competition we have gone for is silver, bronze. And so these girls have defeated this purpose. And that was why you saw so many people were so happy to publish when Morocco was leading us to, when it was a 2 down.
No, they were not Nigerians.
Yes, they were not. But one has to do with a voice of Africa. That means you are representing Africa. It's a big slap. And you were so happy to publish.
Calm down.
Let's go there.
Can you calm down?
To talk about that, we are so happy that we have won. We are so happy that against all odds, this team has come together. So shout out to the girls. Shout out to the president for doing an amazing job that has given, it won't be a Choma Ajua case that 25 years after winning our very first gold medal, it was Governor Sanwo-Olu of Lagos that had to give her a house. So I'm so proud of this administration. If this is the only thing they have done.
This don't even think about it. Okay, now this this cannot be the only thing that
but I think for me, yes, what really went out is the fact that on Saturday I was in a program somewhere in Ikeja, and it was a leadership training session. And one of the things that was highlighted, it was start, grow, sustain. And I think that was the conversation. And one thing that came out very strong in that meeting was the fact that for company to be able to really succeed and stay that long, because the facilitator was looking at companies that have stayed longest in existence. And most of those companies were actually in Japan. The first company being established around 705 AD, and is still in existence in the hospitality industry. And it was wondering, why are these companies staying this long? And what came out that for company to stay this long, the leadership of the corporations had to be people-centered, not product or service-centered. That most of the companies that dies very early are companies that focuses on the products and not the people. So there was a case study, they call it the NIBSS. And when they were doing the analysis of that case study, there was a very brilliant gentleman who was a leader, and they had some people working under him, but really did not know them at all. So he brought his brilliance to the table, and was so disappointed, and of course had to be fired because he couldn't manage the people, because he didn't understand the culture of the people. So what you see displayed in the reception, beyond this thing, is leadership at its core. That what Mr. President has done was the fact that, look, yes, you have won, but beyond the fact that they are giving them cash, the behind the scene, in short, yesterday there was one day in Aso Rock. That part which is not told really right now. Wizkid had to be flown into Nigeria. Davido had to be flown into Nigeria to specially entertain the guests after the award. So the party was continuing. So it's showing that we value you, we appreciate you. And there's something that was quite stunning for me, was the Ajabade's own address, where she said that for every Nigerian who can dare to dream, there is nothing that is impossible. And I think this is a huge message for us as a nation at this very crucial time in our nation building, that people should not give up hope. There is always a tomorrow. If we put in our best, our hard work, if we can play together as a team, we can always win. And I think that message is better now, especially when we are hearing tones from the political environment, divisive tone. We are breaking into fractions. We are calling names, so our region, and we're not looking at the oneness. I don't think anybody saw a southerner in that field, or saw a northerner or an easterner in that field. All we saw were Nigerians. And as long as they were given the value, everybody was made happy. And I think we must begin as a nation to focus on competence rather than mediocrity, which, of course, these ethnic sentiments fuel. For me, President Tinubu done well by showing leadership and promptly appreciating these people. And I'm very sure, because of his caliber of person, that the alert would have dropped yesterday before they left the House of Rock.
Okay, so now we'll take you back to the visuals, and after that we'll go on break. Don't go anywhere.
Nigerians, and I say to you, thank you for the dedication, thank you for your passion, and thank you for reminding us of the strength of the Nigerian spirit. Crucial time, crucial victory. On behalf of the grateful nation, I hereby conferred on the players the 11-man technical team with national honor of officer of Niger. Additionally, I hereby direct the allocation of 3-bedroom apartments to each of the players and technical crew in our Renew Hope estate. In addition, there is a cash award of the Naira equivalent of $100,000 each to the 24 players. And the equivalent of 50,000 to the 11-man technical team.
Because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Super Business Landscape.
Welcome back, and once again, congratulations to everyone out there. Now let's go straight to our second story. Lagos State has warned residents against fake estate agents scam. The Lagos State government has warned residents to beware of fake estate agents marketing unavailable flats in government-owned housing estates. Commissioner for Housing, Maruf Akinderu-Fatai, said the circulating adverts claiming that the newly inaugurated Igondo Mixed Housing Estate is for sale is fraudulent. He also stressed that the estate has been fully allocated and that the government does not use agents to sell or rent housing units within the estate. He advised prospective buyers to verify any housing offer directly with the estate department of the Ministry of Housing. The permanent secretary, Abdul Hafiz Toriola, also directed allottees to take possession of their flats to prevent infiltration by fraudsters. Lady and gentlemen, this is where we are again. Now, what level of income earners is Lagos State housing units majorly catering for?
Well, that question is a difficult one to answer. I can't say for a certainty.
From your mind's mind, who should they cater for major?
Well, first and foremost, even for their civil servants, they can afford it. Most of their civil servants, especially those who are from grade level 15 downwards. Because if you look at what the housing unit is going for, you will know that if you calculate the number they are going to stay in service,
30 years?
So even if you are starting the service today, and you're on grade level 14.
Today?
Yes, today.
Which is not possible.
You are on grade level 14 or 15. And they give you a 2-bedroom flat in those units. If you put all your salary down for the 35 or 36 years, you will still not be able to buy the house. So the houses are quite beyond what civil servants can afford. So that's why I said it's a difficult thing to answer, because if somebody is earning maybe 150,000 in a month, and that 150,000, that's where your money of transport, your money of rent where you currently stay, and you are going to take it. How much are you going to be taking out of that 150 to be able to pay the mortgage? And in 30 years, is it possible for you to be able to fully pay? And of course, some of these things don't even have that benefit of 30 years. So this is real dilemma for state-owned houses, because some of them are very pricey, depending on location also. So that for me is what it is. But the fraud alert is what I'm actually very interested in.
We are not even getting to the fraud alert.
Yes. So,
we want to see how we can really get these people that are oiling the machine of the state to get a roof over their heads.
Yeah, it's a big issue, and I think it's not just here. What should have done some of all these things was the fact that you have the National Housing Scheme, which is meant for public servants, and they are supposed to buy into these insurance products, and they contribute, and the insurance company is supposed to trade with this money. And then by the time they are getting off work or retirement, then they are able to afford a building. But if you're going to get a house for public officers based on their current earning, and they are not trading, so they are just dropping maybe 50,000 or dropping 20,000, you know how long it will take for you to be able to accumulate a 15 million to be able to buy a house. So every year has just 12 months. So if you have 50,000 times 12 months, you can understand what it is, what the mathematics is going to look like. So that's it difficult. So I feel that probably maybe it would have been much more profitable if it was through insurance, that of course government can actually guarantee some of all these things through the insurance companies to be able to get this thing really worth the while. So most of the houses are there, and it's difficult for people to actually access it. Those who can pay for it may necessarily be those who can have it.
Not the civil servants. Okay, now, before we get to the scam part of it, now let's look for private developers who see the kind of property they put on the ground. Definitely not for the low-income earner, and 100% not for the middle-income earner. Private developers, which also brings us to this particular space that government development is more suited for the low and middle-income earner. But now, to whose advantage is it going to be when those same government development can't get to the people that are supposed to get it and are not affordable? And government is not Father Christmas. Doc has suggested input of mortgage insurance. Who else should get involved with government to build for this level of income earners?
Okay, great. Excuse me. Government is not Father Christmas, but it has a responsibility to take care of its civil servants and work for it.
Okay.
Okay. So if you look at it very well, sometimes the majority of the private developers don't build for the middle or the low class. They don't. So my question is, when you go to the military barracks, who builds for them?
The military barracks is not a permanent residence.
I know. But who built for them? Because if you look at their houses, some of them are 2-bedroom flats. Some of them are 3-bedroom flats. And I'm not talking about the officers. I'm talking about from a private soldier to about a staff sergeant, or a little bit above the staff sergeant level to the RSM level, where they have a very big coat of arms here on the right shoulder. You look, they live in at least 2-bedroom flats, or yes, 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom flats, including the police barracks. Yes, we've complained times with that number that look, this police barracks will need to.
Those are no-go areas.
But I can see some of them are being transformed in Lagos State.
Yes.
Some of them are being transformed. They are being renovated. They are being transformed.
And some of the lands are being taken.
Yes, true. That's also true. Some of the lands are being taken. So who build those houses for those officers.
We hope you know that those particular barracks are not permanent residences. You come, you go. The next person come, they go. But for this particular housing for civil servants, we are looking at it.
There was a federal government budget when it comes to a barracks. Every barracks has a particular federal government budget to develop, and there's particular. If you notice, if you go to each barracks, they look alike because there's a general, a regular housing plan. That is around 90.
So we can do that. We can take from that.
Okay.
We can take from that, and that can become the kind of developers or the handles that they could be the ones to handle for the people at that level, even at the state level. So it's going to be,
when they retire, what happens?
When they retire, no, they are going to
leave the property.
No, they don't leave the property. See, now we are talking about it's going to spiral to a lot of places. Lagos State is a state or a place where people have started complaining of congestion. So we need to move out to the outskirts. In that specific case, you take them to those places where we can have access to such a land as well. Not the one we have somewhere close to Alaka, like you're going towards Apapa Wharf, that's at the right-hand side, where the Lagos State government has completed it. People have taken over it, and when I heard the kind of price, rightly as Doctor said, people in that middle class from level 15 cannot even afford it. But you know what? Some afford it. But the way they got it, we don't know. But you see, it is not meant for people. So government will need to think, and it's going to be a very long-term plan. If we really want these people to take care of those people that are going to work for 35 years, 40 years, because some of them, their retirement age has been increased by 5 years. And maybe that's at the federal level. They're going to work for that long. They need to have homes. So it's going to be a very long-term plan. Or we go and revive the mortgage and to tailor it in a way that is suitable, that they're able to, pay off those expenses before they actually leave the service. Because if not, you can have people like in their late 60s, 70s, living in rented apartments. It starts torture.
Okay. Now, while we try to avoid that torture, let's get to the fraudulent side of it.
Okay, so before we start fraudulent, can I just clear something?
Okay.
So there are initiatives. For example, there is this. It's for retired army officers. If you're going at Iyanokpaja, I think it's on the left. I have a couple of people who live there. There was an initiative by military officers in Lagos, and they are doing it in all states. You start to put together some monies when you are still active in service. You make a down payment of about a 10% or a 20%, and they collect from your salaries a sign-up. By the time you're almost done with service, they have already calculated your pension. The first step set they give you, I've forgotten what they call that name again, before they start paying you the pension small. They have already calculated about a 40-50%. So that money goes straight to complete the house, and they move. It's about a 3-bedroom. They have in Lagos, they call it, in fact, it's military officers that guide those places. So inside, in fact, they have elections for chairman. They run it like a mini barracks. But it is individually owned by military officers, police, army, air force. They all have all over Lagos. There are so many Korodu, there are so many Yanokpaja, there are so many Sogotedo. So people are already making, this is already in the works. At least I've gone there, visited there a couple of times. I know teachers to have something, and that's for Lagos State. I don't know all over Nigeria, but at least I know for Lagos State, different individuals. It may not be in the price areas, like, Lekki, they go further. But they have these estates where all of them, they contribute a certain amount, they buy the land, they take a loan as themselves, and they contribute, and you are paying small, and they are building. But you build similarly. If the 3-bedroom, they are all in the same way with your lawn and your this and that. So this is going on. That's what I first wanted to clarify, that this is already going on. Now, this Lagos State government project, what is on ground is you pay a 5% down payment for the house, and the houses, I don't think they are more than 50 to 100 million. So I would say to differ that even if you're on level 12, you can afford that. It's
50 to 100 million.
Yes, 50 to 80, in fact.
From salary or from annual source of income.
50% of 80 million is 50% of 80 million
is 40 million.
No, I mean 5%. 5% of 80 million. 5% of 80 million is 4 million naira.
Okay.
You can push yourself to get a 4 million naira. I'm sorry, you can. And and if you can push yourself, because you're on a regular salary, hold on. Then about
hold on.
About 30% of your salary is being deducted.
How much is this salary?
Now I can beat my chest to tell you.
Swift, can I say something before you continue?
Now I'm with you. Okay. You have housing allowance as a government and a state office or worker.
It is within your salary.
Yes, but there's something called housing loan that is paid to you every year. There's a mini car loan paid to you every year.
Which you have to pay back.
Which office?
Yes.
And my wife worked for Lagos State. I have not seen that.
Yes.
She's been working for more than 20 years now.
Don't apply. If you do not apply.
No. What I'm saying is that when we are talking about loans.
Sir, let me finish that, please. So you see that housing loan, it comes. That 4 million you are talking about, if you apply for it, at least you can get that 4 million to pay for the down payment first. Then you now start to work and get. So it's how you plan yourself. It is feasible. That's what I'm trying to say. The last time I was in this Lagos State government hospital, here, Allen Maternity, a lot of them were talking about the housing scheme. I'm doing this. And I was listening to them and I had to ask, what are you doing? They said, there's a contribution. So it's how you can plan yourself.
Okay. Let's
What the point is that that's what I'm saying to you. My wife worked for Lagos State.
Yes, sir.
And she has been working for over 20 years for this state government. So, see, what I'm saying to you, I'm saying from what I know. I'm not talking about somebody's sake, because I'm saying that this is where she worked and this is what she earned. And if you factor it what he earned, in short, I told her I don't even get for a loan. Because the loans are not even coming from mortgage, they are coming from commercial bank. And the interests are like this to the rooftop. A lot of them who took this loan, they are running from place to see how they can get this thing done. And this is why you find that there's so much corruption within the system. Because the system is built in such a way that you have to fend for yourself by all means. Because if you have to rely on what you are paid, you cannot afford the 40 million naira house. That's the point I'm making. So, but what I feel is, yes, there are a lot of people who are also into cooperatives. A lot of them are into cooperatives. But I'll tell you some of these things. You find that at the end of the day, these people have become barely beggars. And these things are taking on citizens who come to demand service. Because by the time you are taking all these deductions from your salary, what your take home is not more than 2,000. And you have to live on it in 30 days, come to work, go back to work, buy food and eat. So what this does is that it puts people under pressure. So you must have to look for avenue. They who are not ashamed, who are ashamed to beg, then of course suppose they compromise their office to be able to get sorted out. I also had some of my friends who were together from Ogun State, same issue. At the end of the day, by the time they are taking all this deduction out of their salary, they have not some 2,000, 1,000 left at the end of the deductions because they are struggling to be able to get this. And now you can't get the best from that kind of a people. This will take me to what I've always advocated, where we have to build houses vertically, that it can become affordable. Because if you take the cost of land out of house, to construct today a three-bedroom will not be more than 10 million. And if you factor that into a big building, and even if the state is going to make, say, 5% or 10% or 30%, it will still be within range of what people can afford. But when you are building scattered buildings, it becomes much more expensive. So I feel that there's a place we can get to in our conversation. You talked about the barracks. The way they are built, you're built run in an environment and people, you have occupants. And of course, this also factored into what they earn. Is my advocacy, because what civil servants are paid today, and if we have to be sincere with ourselves, is not enough, except that you want them to be doing other things to be able to meet up to pay the balance of whatever that they have. And that is quite fair. I think that where the NIBSS was a good deal, But a lot of people also have retired and never got in homes, and this is a big problem. Because how they trade with that money is all a big problem. But I come to the scam side of it.
The backlog of
yes, which is where the challenge is, because when people become desperate, you fall into the hands of victims. But I think Lagos State government can get beyond what they do, the alert that they have put forward, to actually getting to organize the real estate people. The UAE has done this successfully. You know, before people just get to the UAE, once you get to the airport, you see all these real estate agents attacking you, telling you they have property here, and some very vulnerable travelers fall into their trap. And you ask us, you don't need to pay too much, just small money, then we take you around after the jacuzzi or the reception they give to you. You feel, oh, these people are credible, and then give them money and then it got paid. So once these notices go to government, what the government did was to ensure that every real estate development is domiciled in the council area, Ministry of Land. So when you are paying, you don't pay to the real estate company, you pay to the Ministry of Land.
They verify and
no, they give, you are paying to the Ministry of Land. Okay. Ministry of Land now have advanced to the real estate agent based on milestones. So if you say you are building a 2-bedroom flat for me, then I said, okay, where is this construction? So they will give you the percentage based on the milestone until the house is covered. So you don't have so much of real estate fraud in the UAE anymore, because state government has been able to regularize it so that you are not actually giving money to the developer, you are giving money to the developer, and the government is holding the money in trust for the investor. And I think it's something that Lagos State government can borrow from, that all the developers that are around, rather than send marketers to go be looking at people's money, let those money come to the Ministry of Land, and then of course it's advanced to the developers and ensure that there is a land available. Because there are a lot of people who they say, okay, I have a land in Mary, and the people come and do deposit, and after depositing, they go to the real estate and say, oh, where's the house? They say it's no longer in Mary, now it's in Ajah or something. So these things happen, and we must find a way to
leave Ajah out of it.
We must find a way to regularize some of all these things so that people are not victims.
Well, can I drop in here that there are actually some banks that do a 0% loan for housing?
Banks in Nigeria,
commercial banks.
Hold on to that talk. Let's look at this. The private developers and government development. Now we know fully well that government development is way cheaper than private developers, and now that will make more people tilt towards going to government development, and that will also make way and create avenues for people to get scammed.
Yes.
But now, one thing we are also looking at, is it possible for we to have middlemen without people in government being not knowing?
Okay, so I know that the Minister of Works was talking about a more transparent system. He was talking about an e-payment plan for housing. In fact, that's one of this administration's goals. If that goes through, it means, because he said that they have realized that about 90% of the lands in Nigeria are not officially allocated. So your grandfather may own a land, but in front of government, the documents and all that are not completed. Now that's a challenge, because it looks like everybody wants all the lands. There's no land that is available. But if they are telling you that 90% of landed properties in Nigeria are not documented, then this e-payment thing is a good thing. So you are registering the lands, like he said.
Let's talk about the buildings.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So I'm in Nigeria, I'm in America, I'm in Canada, or I'm in Nigeria, I'm in Lagos. I want to buy a house in Edo State. I don't physically
government house.
All I need to do is go to the website, click. I can see the land. I trust that it's going to federal account. It's not an individual's account. It's going to the state government, for example, of Edo State or Delta State. I can buy, and as time goes on, I go there and I can receive. So if a payment plan can be put like that, where government, like Doctor said, which is brilliant, government is directly involved. I can trust that government will not run away with my money, compared to Mr. A or Mr. B, who says they are real estate people and they buy jeeps, and tomorrow they declared bankruptcy and there's nothing you can do. You take them to court and they keep paying 50,000. My friend's mother had an issue and she almost died because of that.
Okay.
So if it's a government, no, it's true, it's really painful. If it's a government-owned enterprise and government can do a private partnership with these private people, then it would work better. That's in my opinion. For the fraud case, like you said, because government is cheaper, people are looking at subsidy. I heard a house is selling for 10 million and it's government owned, and you are bidding for it. I have back door, and this man who works in Lagos State. It's very easy to fall for such things, and that's why the Lagos State government had to come out and say, look, we are not giving. In fact, the houses, everything you are seeing there, it's already bought. So don't even try and go through the back door, because I can tell you that people are probably paid 200,000 for you to start to process, another 300,000 so that your name will join the allocation.
Are you talking from experience? You paid the 200 or the 200,000?
I have people that pay that they never forgive themselves.
Okay, let's come to you now. Should the government be looking at the people that are falling victims or looking at catching the fraudsters themselves?
Both. Because those who are fallen victims need to be protected. If you look all over the country, more than 28 million housing deficit, about 30 million housing deficit, and Lagos has the largest chunk. Why? Massive population in Lagos, and it's still growing by the day. And guess what? Real estate is making a kill in Lagos, because getting a home to stay and paying house rent, if people want to escape something, they feel they have conquered one of the monsters in life. Someone who has grown to the age of 40, approaching 50, or got to 50 and is going. When they have their personal house, home, not anywhere, in Lagos, oh please, they have taken something huge off their shoulders, and it's a conquest.
Yes.
They believe they've attained somewhere very, very significant and important in life. And because there is this rush to get that, they can almost fall for anything. Probably if they have fallen once or twice, then they can now be smarter. So what does the government need to do? There's a specific thing. People used to fall for this. Then until I spoke to a lawyer who was talking that now if you want to buy property, the government has a portal that she was talking about. All the properties in the state, I think they're still putting it together. All the properties in the state and their owners and the location where they are, it's with the government register.
Is it those that have applied for certificate of occupancy?
Yes.
And I will tell you 100% that over 60% of the landed property, even in Lagos, are not registered.
Yes.
Because the owners don't have. You see, because it's just somehow I wonder how we operate as a country. Yes, if we 34 of licenses say, oh, land belongs to the state. But that's really not the truth. And this is why you see these things that you're talking about, you have land registry.
When you say
a lot of people are
land, is it all land belongs to the state?
Yes.
All lands, yes, that's what the decree says. So
all land, father's land belongs to the
yes, they are holding it in trust for your father. So that's what the law says. So the state government holds the land in trust.
Okay.
Yeah, for your father. So what it is that if you have to sell that land, then you need to get a certificate from Lagos. But a lot of all these things really never happen. And that's why you see when lands are exchanging hands.
The government
There are cases here in Lagos where even Lagos State government, local governments in Lagos State has lost cases of land to private owners. One of those cases you can find, I think, if you look at the former Baga market, a family won against the government.
Yes.
If you go to MFM, that land has been sold to MFM 2 or 3 times.
Jesus.
The same land.
The same land.
And MFM is still buying.
But why would they buy? Because they go to court and they go to Supreme Court and they get a judgment against the purchase. Because most of these things that we're talking about, we are not actually, we just write laws down. We don't even look at the workability of the laws that governs us. And so people are ignorant of the law and people do all manners of things. And then of course the court is there to determine who is actually the owner of the land. You remember Sonny Okosu, who owns the land, Papa's land. So this is where we are.
So, Chooks, I was going to land.
Okay, land. I beg you, land.
So the thing is, when you want to buy, and the government is telling you, go through this portal. So when you go through that portal, you can see the real owners of the land, you can see their names, you know that the government is aware, and the government knows which of these properties are vacant and available.
For registered properties?
Not just, these are registered properties, because the ones that are not registered will not be there.
Okay.
So if you are going to buy, the government is very, very much aware, and the government is going to, probably they pay a little fee for that, but it's better than to pay a little fee and be informed of, look, the properties you're trying to buy is, of course, verified, so you can pay for it. Others that are not verified, who is fronting for it? They can tell you that this is a bit, because I spoke to two lawyers, they fell victim for it. Two of them bought the same land. And by the time they came to know each other, that they were both lawyers.
Big man versus big man. Problem.
Yeah. They after they got to know, they said that the both lawyers, they said, look, let's sit down and settle this over drinks. Can we just have drinks and talk? Because they knew they've been fleeced.
Yes.
So they sat down and had a conversation and amicably shared their land. Amicably. So you have this part, you can have this part, and they built a fence around it, and they were both developing. Another case, two lawyers fell. One had already started building. The other one came. And when they discovered they were lawyers, I said, okay, well, I have started building. What are we going to do? I'm going to buy the land from you. Because two of them fell for the scam. One had started building. And so the other one came like, you are building on my land. I said, no, okay. So after the conversation, he had to pay another money and re-buy the land from the other man, because he felt I've already started building and I can't lose it. Lawyers. So tell me, those who are not lawyers, who are not as smart as...
Yeah, but you see, the problem is
that
this.
That is why the government
let me give you an example. I have you see, you have a plot of land, maybe like it is 100 by 100. And sometimes economy enter in, you cut part of it and sell to somebody. And somebody is still carrying even if that property is registered. See,
yes,
so there is no new drawing
to demarcate.
Actually, to say that this land is no longer 100.
Yes.
So what we are saying in the registry is different from what is applicable on the ground. Yes. Because the man just say, well, I need some money, I need to sell this part of it, and cut it into half, sell to somebody, and he has given you this thing. What is going to now give you, and said, okay, whether it's man no man or something, you just have to agree and then move on. But then, of course, that land is not properly registered.
So yes. The next 20 years, your children.
Yes, but that they are selling.
The person is dead.
Yes, of course, it become a huge problem.
Very huge problem.
See, but I think education is quite important, especially when it comes to real estate. Number one, state government must also license real estate agents. Because you have a lot of people. You have one baba in your neighborhood, and the next day has become yes, real estate agent. Many of them don't know more, but of course they are selling, they are buying, they are letting, and there's no kind of a harmonization. I think those things also have to be enforced. That if people are going to, if we are properly digitized, and somebody is saying you are an agent to a property,
I have to check you out.
That have to be checked out, because these are some of the things. Because you can see one document in the hands of 3 people, 10 people, agent to agent, and say, what's the document on this property? He has a photocopy. This guy has a photocopy. This guy has a photocopy. And they
are looking for buyers.
Yeah, looking for buyer at the same time. So they have the document they are saying. So you say, okay, they give to you because this is a document. They say, this is a document. So this is a problem. And I think the proper registration is important for those who are also doing the business, so that we can cleanse scammers of the real estate business in Nigeria.
Okay, while we are trying to make sure that you don't fall into the hands of a scammer and buy property that don't exist, or wake up one morning, open somebody's door, and you see them waking up, avoid what you're not sure of. And also, due diligence is what we always advise here. And if you're not sure, avoid. And for everyone out there, also Lagos State, thank you for pushing out this information. But hey, go beyond the information you're pushing out and also let us know what the next property development is going to be like, and let everybody be able to access the information by the press of a button. We'll go on a very short break. Souk Business Landscape. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, you know, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market, or buying to keep it for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk Business Landscape.
Property, a unique blend of architectural design, stunning locations, and thoughtful details. It plays a vital role in our life, providing shelter and security, wealth creation, and a sense of belonging. Properties leave a legacy for future generations, create business opportunities, and convey social status. The real estate market is constantly evolving, with trends and prices shifting in response to economic, social, and environmental factors. In-demand properties include sustainable homes, multi-generational homes, urban condos, and suburban single-family homes. The real estate market is a dynamic and ever-changing landscape influenced by economic, social, and environmental factors. Otumbagbemi Oyeneyi, an expert in the field, shed more light on the real estate industry.
The trend now, and that is where terraces are coming in now, so that you can have multiple, one bed apartment and all that, all structured together in a small space of land. So that is a trend. Developers are now building smaller apartments that are easy to sell or easy to rent or lease.
Affordable housing initiatives are on the way to provide options for low-income earners, while luxury properties in cities like Lagos and Abuja cater to the growing middle class. Commercial properties such as office space and retail centers are also in high demand due to economic growth. Globally, sustainable living and smart homes are gaining popularity, with eco-friendly properties and integrated technology becoming increasingly desirable. In Lagos, there have been commendable innovation through this industry.
The low-income earners definitely, we just have to wait. In a civilized environment, that is where government comes in to bring succor, to create opportunity, mortgage, and things like that. We don't have an effective mortgage system yet in the country. So good for them to understand, because sometimes when you want to buy a property and you hear the price, and then you wonder sometimes why. But if you also know that the cost of building material has gone up by almost 300% just in the last 12 months, then you will understand why. So it's easier for you to, appreciate the value and then the cost. Yeah, we are talking to governments to liberalize the mortgage system to make it affordable and accessible to the ordinary citizen. What the government has done so far is to, through the Federal Mortgage Bank, to ensure that civil servants and all that can access it, through their pension. But what about the market women? What about the, drivers? Recently, the government is actually trying to do something in that regard to make housing. In fact, there is a program now where the government want to set up or construct 1,000 housing units in every state. A committee is already set up, and they are already going around all the states for the state governors to allocate land where this is going to take place. So government is already doing something on that.
In other parts of the world, median home prices vary widely, ranging from $200,000 in the US to over $1 million in cities like Hong Kong and Singapore. Understanding this trend and cost is crucial for buyers, sellers, and investors to make informed decisions and capitalize on emerging opportunities in the ever-changing real estate market. Praise Matthias for Souk News.
Because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigerian content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk Business Landscape.
Welcome back. This is still Souk Business Landscape, and we are live on Souk News Television. Remember, go on your social media handles and follow us. Join the conversation, and we will return back those beautiful replies. Now, let's go cashless. Nigeria's electronic transaction is on the rise. Electronic payments in Nigeria grew by 24.4% year-on-year to 295.5 trillion naira in the first quarter of 2025, according to Nigeria Interbank Settlement System. Cashless transactions rose from 237.1 trillion naira in the same period of 2024, highlighting the increasing adoption of digital payments. The data showed that payment channels were used 2.21 billion times, with point-of-sale terminals recording 776.9 million users. Instant payment accounted for 285 trillion naira, while POS transaction totaled 10.5 trillion naira. Experts say the growth reflects a maturing payment landscape as real-time transfers become widely accepted. Nigeria recorded 7.9 billion real-time transactions in 2024, ranking among global leaders in digital payments alongside India, Brazil, and China. Congratulations to everybody on this table. For a while, the nation has been preaching cashless. Prior elections, we tried cashless, it failed. Thank God, after elections, we suffered that, and here we are. We see possibilities. Now, the cashless policy is growing, and Nigerians are embracing it. How do we get to reduce the charges on POS? Let's start thinking from that first, Doc.
Well,
why? Did I say something?
Not complaining.
I'm not talking about
doctors.
Okay, now hold on.
Vicinity.
We have
they charge 300 naira for 1,000.
He doesn't do that.
He can pay.
He doesn't do that. Now, I'm talking to people that have shares in these banks. So, doctor, speak on behalf of us, the citizens of this country. How can we reduce charges on POS? Let's start from that cashless point of view.
Well, I think there's a whole lot that we will have to do. It was quite interesting to see when Tinubu was addressing the president over the backlog that they owe the Gencos. And one of the things that he said that the president pulled off a miracle in oil exploration. That before he came, they were losing about 97%. But at the moment, they are losing just about 2%. And that miracle needs to also happen in Gencos. And extending that conversation is that miracle also needs to happen at the discos. That miracle needs to happen when we have energy prices come down, because these are the real driving forces for the charges for the bank. Now, the cost for running your generator and diesel because there's no electricity is a big problem. And I was just happy this morning when I saw that the bill for the amendment of the 2023 Electricity Act had gone through the second reading in the National Assembly, which of course now having a clause as moved by distinguished Abaribe, that government should have the right and power to actually reprivatize discos if they are not performing very well. So all of those framework need to be in place so that if the input costs are getting down, what is charged also will get down. So I think this for me what it is. But in terms of people embracing digital platforms, it's quite amazing, but I wish it never existed. Because some of us, you can't, you are just on your phone and all you are doing on a click and the whole thing, by the time you look at it, there's no anything there left. So we can't even control it. Some of us are praying that we go back to those tally days when it is difficult to remove what you have in the bank. What is in your bank? Well, that's just our side of the story.
They say, big man, big problem.
So that is saying that maybe during those times, it was able to save lots of money. Of course, yes.
You go a physical trade, they take your picture, and then sometimes you even go there and they say, sorry, the system is not working. Can you come back in?
No, you see
when you go back to
queue.
the office, you now realize that, do I really need this money? This 5K out in my pocket.
He's not talking about himself. He's not talking about himself. Hope you know. As in, we that have to do the collection. So by the time he thinks of that, and we also think of that on his behalf, we'll just reduce our demand. But since it's just sir, and he presses the bell, don't worry.
Doctor, sorry, we're not going back.
Don't worry. Now let's bring this. Apart from seeing what is his name, Emeka, Rufiat, Silika, Hassan, collecting those extra 200 on 5,000, 200 on 10,000, 300 and that. We're trying to get that down, but now let's ask ourselves these same questions. How can we now start playing in the technology driving this cashless policy? Nigerian companies. Because right now, if you look at it, India is swaying and winning and cutting home with the monies. How can Nigerian companies, Nigerian technology, Nigerian inventors, Nigerian IT solutions start playing in this particular policy?
Chooks, first of all, we must give ourselves plaudits for where we have attained at the moment. We never saw it coming, but when it came, in fact, even the conventional banks, they were stupefied. Like, wow, like they were put to the test by the fintechs. Look at, we were looking at 95% completion of the cashless policy in 2025. I would not say we've gotten to 95%, but we've got to a percentage point where we can look at ourselves like, oh, give us another 20 years. We will start doing something remarkable when it comes to cashless policy. Okay. And we could see.
Can I puncture your tire?
Oh, you always do that.
I agree that we are driving and we are driving well.
Yes.
But the engine powering this particular exercise is not Nigerian.
Just a moment. That is why I said, first of all, we give ourselves plaudit. Second of all, we might not have 100% Nigerian. In fact, we might not even have 75 or 65% Nigerian. But we have Nigerians, and more Nigerians are coming into the space. So I was thinking when you said, let's puncture my tire, I thought you will take me to an area I'm going to talk about now, which I would say Nigeria's cashless policy at the moment is quite incomplete. Because how much did they spoke about? They spoke about 295.5 trillion naira. No, is that really how much we have in circulation? Transactions, yes.
First quarter.
But if you look at the transactions,
first quarter of 2025.
But if you look at the transactions, it is clear. How? Because we have there's this amount of money in circulation, that would never go back to the bank. Because even in all economies where they have, including India, where they have promoted and they are doing very well, excuse me, in the cashless policy, there's some form of cashless still in, they still exchange hands. Cash still exchange hands. In fact, even in the Western climes, they still use cash. In fact, because of the value of their money, some of them still use the coin. So the thing is, how can we get to that place where people buy their cash? That is what we should be looking at. Where people buy their cash, because we actually buy our money.
We are buying your cash now, you know.
Yes,
when
we
you
are.
go to the POS, you pay for your cash.
Yes, that's
So
why I'm saying, how do we get past
Can you
it?
dwell on the technology pushing this particular? Can we also have government policies that will give us, let's say, a time frame and say, okay, good, banks, you've done well, banks, you've done noble. But in the next 5-10 years, we want to see you also master and own your technology. Not India, not Swiss, not the US, for security reasons.
But some of these banks that you are talking about, some of these conventional banks that you're talking about, the technology that they currently use, probably designed and put together by these countries you just mentioned, by IT firms from these countries that you just mentioned, that they now own it. I know when it comes to maintenance and upkeep and sanitization of the system, we still go back to source. However, it is something that will be, initiated through gradual process, because we know we have Nigerians who are equally building this sort of technology. And it goes beyond the banking system. But now, since our focus is in the banking system, we know we have Nigerians who are building this. Now, the reason why I was going the direction where I was going was because we need to have a platform where people can transact business. We don't have to go to even the woman who did not go to school, who sells pepper by the side of the road, who sells vegetable on the side of the road. When you get there, even if without a smartphone, with that phone, she has an account, and there's a technology in it from which you can buy from her and pay with that technology. Just the way we have the carry card, you can use it in the train and you can use it in the BRT. If we can deploy those kind of technology very well, then I think we'll be getting to a place where we can say, okay, yes, our cashless policy is now gaining a very, very huge traction, and we are getting out of that place where we'll be completely reliable from those when we purchase the technology from.
Okay, Swift, I'm coming to you. Speak to this. Now, CBN has a budget for printing. CBN printing cash. Before stay on this particular place.
Because of the IT thing, I need to clarify.
Clarify, or you want to add to it? Okay, go ahead.
So basically, every bank has a network solution. You have to have a solution. Most of this solution takes years to build. All right, and many of these solutions, like you said, they are not owned by Nigerians. They are owned by Chinese, Indians. In fact, India all over the world is
all of the solutions,
yes.
Not most.
No, some are owned by Chinese.
I'm talking about Nigerian ownership.
Yes.
All are owned by foreigners.
So these people have network solutions you can rely on. There was a particular bank in Nigeria, I don't want to call the name, who decided to go through a Nigeria-owned IT firm, and they decided to change that particular solution. Okay, it was a disaster. For over 2 weeks, the transactions were stopping, people's monies were getting missing, people's monies were disappearing. In fact, for 2 years after they came back to their Indian people, the OEM that supplies that particular solution, for almost a year to 2 years, they were still having issues with disappearing of funds and all that, because it's very technical. So I'm not in a hurry for us to look for a Nigerian IT base. And for information,
so sorry, it's not the question of technicality.
Yes.
It is sabotage.
No, I will not say sabotage.
It is sabotage.
It is. No, Chooks is on this side.
Because I'm sorry.
Hello. Priya is on that side.
Because about 80% of your technical team, the people you call, the people that when the banks are having issues at night, so most of them are not in Nigeria. Most of them are Nigerians that are overseas. Okay? And they are the people that handle from the back end of the backlog, because I seem to have some friends that are in IT. So there was a time I was very angry with a particular bank that rubbish, and the person now took his time to explain to me that, look, they switched to a Nigerian IT solution. Even the the guy is not based in Nigeria, he's based in the UK, but it almost crashed the bank's PR. So basically, a lot of banks have decided to stick to, I don't want to call names, there are some 2 new solution banks. The reason why they are doing so well is their main office, where they control their IT, their servers, are not in Nigeria. They are over there. So it is easier for those transactions to go through very quickly.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
There is something called sovereignty. There's something called security. There's something called bugging. There is something called attack. Yeah. Now, one of the major reasons why Russia is still as strong and China is still as strong is that they control their financial system. They control their food even before they get to military. So it doesn't matter what you try to do. One of the major steps the West tried hitting East Russia with during the war was SWIFT. Okay. Which happens to be your namesake. Oh my God.
Well, just in case you know, maybe I can just be part
but
of
now,
but
what did Russia do? Because they had their own firewall, they developed their own stuff. That did not affect them. They created a second part for SWIFT.
Because they have been planning ahead.
Thank you very much. Now, we are Africans. We know where we are. We know that we need to catch up. But in the long run, should we not be looking at our ability to be in charge of our financial system? Because it takes one policy from the West, and we are in trouble.
And there's a saying, if it's not broken, why fix it?
If it's not broken, why fix it? When it's somebody else's Sir, please
you have to break it.
Let me fix it. I need to come to you now. Now, talk to us as an elder. Right now, we don't have a problem right now. But all of our infrastructure, the backbone of our financial system, is not African, is not Nigerian.
Yeah, I think it's African must be deliberate, and I said this with every sense of responsibility, that if we have to compete, we must get to a level where we have to own our narratives and tell our stories by ourselves. And I think China has demonstrated that model, that you can actually rely on yourself and not be overly dependent on a foreign source. So Chinese are managing their environment very well. I happened to see a young man who came from China yesterday who visited us in the studio and was telling me, so we live in the city of Wuhan. And I said, oh, where you guys manufactured COVID-19? He said, well, it has to be expected that you really need to come to Wuhan and see the level of Chinese investment in biological substances. That's massive. And this is a country that is looking at how to own their narrative. So if you create a technology in the West, they develop their own version.
Yes.
So why are you talking not so much about Amazon? Alibaba is by the side to help them. So you're talking so much about your Instagram, WhatsApp, you have a TikTok by the side, which is their technology, and that is what their people are using. Because they know that in the age of technology where we are, you are as vulnerable as the technology that you depend on. So you really would not have power or muscle to compete favorably, because somebody can just hold you by the jugular and then you have to submit. So it's something that African nations most deliberately have to focus on. I said to people, sometimes I wonder in my private meditating room, we are looking to the West. Who did the West actually look up to come up with these groundbreaking inventions? They have no nation to look up to.
Imagination.
Yes, that's the power of imagination. And I think that's where we need to be a lot strong. Our school system, because there's no way a nation can transform beyond the quality of their education. We must begin to deliberately encourage, that's what I was saying yesterday, is the innovation hubs we're talking about. Are we going to create financing for people to have access to build models, to try models until they become products? Because if we don't deliberately invest in this, we will continue to consume technology. And of course, only God knows what happened if those who are supplying you the technology decide to offend you and you don't have anywhere to run to.
So, Chooks, this is one thing I was trying to say. There are solutions that are owned by Nigerians, no matter how few or no matter how insignificant they seem to be in the eyes of people. Government policy, number one. Number two, the banks themselves. When we're talking about brain drain in the education industry, we're talking about brain drain in IT, in banks. Where did they all go to? Where did they all go to? So we have the capacity to develop local, tailor-made solutions for our banks. Because if the banks, and I think the banks and the people who run the banks in Nigeria, they are too intelligent to leave their fate and their lives in the hands of solution providers either from the West or from China or from India yes, they are. Because if they are going to continue...
We are there. You see, what they have done is that they have trained some of your people who manages back end. I can give you, I don't want to call names so that I will not be selling company here. Yes. And I have some couple of people who are here working. When there are major issues, when these issues happen, the Nigerians equivalent are calling on their Indian counterpart to fix it. And most of the fixing are done because they are all on the cloud, on the server cloud, and not within what we can handle. So what we can fix is those few things that are there. So yes, our people go abroad because they have cheaper labor now compared to these other guys who know the technology really. So people source cheaper labor to manage, yes, the back end, front end, but you see, behind the back end, there's another back end. And the person who is at the other back end is actually not somebody of your color. Yes, we have people who have created technology, but this technology are also reliant on more advance from these other people who, take for example, where we operating, all the banks, you say, Oracle, where is it?
Now, the person at the back end is Pandif.
So what doctor is trying to say
and
is
Rajiv.
Your boo has a boo.
Now,
there's a back end.
Yes, we are grateful to India for your innovations. We are grateful to you for your constant teaching and all that. We say thank you. But to everybody out there, remember this, that we can't always and continuously be dependent. Let that be at the back of our mind. We look for policies that will make us also bring something to the market that others can depend on. That way we know that at least we are taking and we're also giving. Let's go to our last story for today. You just stay on this beautiful table and time just flies. Now, for those that are not in the know, Spain removes 90-day minimum stay for work permits. Spain has scrapped, they put clips on this side and throw it away. 90 days minimum stay requirement for certain foreign work permits under its entrepreneurs' laws. This change allows authorities to issue permits valid for less than 90 days, unlike before, for categories such as the EU Blue Card, highly qualified professionals, remember this, qualified professionals, highly, researcher and intra-company transfer permits. The reform aims to attract global talent and support Spain's startup and innovation ecosystem. Now, this is where we're going to stop. If you remember sometime last week, the United States, Trump to be specific, he gave some good or packet to this set of visas, set of application for this same set of people. And this week, Spain has looked at, okay, this is an opportunity.
Please come.
What exactly are we seeing here?
Please come. We have need of you here, specifically Africans. Please come. We have need of you here. They were talking about to come and look at specific areas. They were looking at startups.
Highly qualified.
Highly qualified, yes. Startups. They are even looking at research and development. Nigerians, Africans. And we on this table, we cry most of the time that this is through the means of one of the vehicles we can bring development to our country, business, economy, and otherwise. That's what they're looking at. And they're telling you, look, if Donald Trump doesn't want you to come over there. In fact, we are reducing the time space from 3 months. Come to Spain.
Yeah, but you see, it's not that Trump don't want people to come. In short, as a matter of fact, Donald Trump, when he was sworn in, said, what a stupidity for Americans to invest in people and allow them to go back to their country.
If you graduate with a master's, you're not going back.
With a master's and a PhD, you are going nowhere. So the people Donald Trump don't want is what we call the mecunus. That's what they don't want.
Is that an English word?
Hold on. So can you help this table?
A definition and a concept to that word, mecunus.
Mecunus of the society, Dr. Please.
Yeah, go ahead. I think tell me that I to understand where I am. So this is the issue. So we're looking at people that are valuable. So the policy is not different from what Donald Trump is saying. Everybody is trying to attract talent. Donald Trump understands that, look, you know, I can't forget what Tim Cook says. Well, Apple is not in China because there's cheap labor. Yeah. They're in China because if you need material engineers in America, you can gather the whole out of 300 million people in one room, and there will still be space. But if you go to China, several football fields will be full of them. So what is here is the fact that the new powerhouse, international power, is lying in the ability of people who can transform technology. So every nation is attracting. But don't forget that all European countries are aging, including Spain, including Italy.
They have refused to.
So the aging population is also a big problem. And so what you have seen is that they need younger blood, people who are more creative and innovative, to help them sustain where they should be. Otherwise, they go into extinction. So these are policies that are driven by the reality of the time, as far as I'm concerned.
You know, you always fight against globalization.
Hold on,
Doc.
Hold on, Doc. We need you to talk on this before we leave you.
Okay.
Okay, we'll leave you. Now, okay, let me just follow your chain of thoughts. You said your dad gave birth to 8, you are going to give birth to 2, and your son is going to give birth to 1. Now, this is...
You know what I'm looking at you.
This is...
So you're really going to have moving on.
This is what Europe is suffering right now.
Yeah.
But now, let's not go into that. Should Africa adopt a policy whereby, since we have the numbers and the brain that is being exported to these places, can we adopt a policy where we get returns directly from every African that is living to fill these spaces?
Well, it's dependent on policies that you implement. We can borrow from India, for example. India has identified their citizens. And wherever they live on this planet Earth, as long that you have an Indian citizen, for example, and you have the Indian national ID card, your taxes paid back home, except that you have relinquished your nationality. So it doesn't matter which country that you are. So they've been able to deal with that. And you can see the reason why their GDP is growing in very high numbers, because they are able to get their children who are everywhere, and everybody wants that Indian national ID card. So if you want it and you have it, you can't have Indian card and be a national of another country. It's not possible. So is that an Indian or you are not? So by this, they are able to actually repatriate huge fund from their people who are on the outside. And I think these are some of the things that we can do. Now, a friend of mine actually told me a story in Rwanda, and he said to me that, look, it's possible for Nigeria to actually make so much money by just exporting talent. You have the numbers. So you have the money. Train good engineers and export them. Train good doctors, export them. Train good scientists, export them.
We are training good engineers, but the exporting part is the one that is not there right now.
No, okay, so I remember...
I don't know if you understand.
Yes, I do.
Typical example, Brazil.
Okay, I remember on this table...
Footballers are leaving Brazil, and Brazil is making money.
Yes. I remember I said on this table that, look, from the sense we're talking about, we need to have diaspora remittances back home from every Nigerian, whether you have naturalized or
to
not.
the country or to the family?
To the country.
Okay.
Now, it must not be, that policy must not be framed in a way that it will be burdensome. Because Nigerians, we will fight back. 1. 2, it will not be framed in a way where they are giving their remittances and it's not reflecting in development of the nation. They are going to protest indirectly. So I said this on this table that, look, people were crying about brain drain in our health sector. People are crying about, look, we have the population. In 2050 or in 2010, how many are we going to be? We're heading towards how many million? How many 100 million?
230.
Great. 230? I think it's even more than that.
Now
we're already 230, and we're looking at 250, 300.
216, 216 or 200.
I think we're 216, probably in the early.
230 that is not properly documented.
Yes, but I think around that 216 we were told. But it's like we've moved to that 230 now. So the thing is, what the government itself needs to do. Look, I want to see a Nigerian become the ambassador of Spain to America. I want to, yes, and we are heading there. I want to see people of Nigerian descent who are occupying government positions in Europe, in different countries, because it could be a source of strategic relationship. The government should make sure that, look, as long as you have, we can have some people come and borrow. We will borrow you money to, lack of a better word, jackpot, right? Pay back. You will pay back. Because we are strategically planting you on good soil. One day we are going to reap the benefit as a nation.
So why you look at planting humans? Now let's talk about Spain. What do they stand to gain economically from this policy?
I'm very excited you asked that. If you actually go online, there have been documentaries talking about the fact that Spain has a high debt in public. They are owing a lot of public. They have public funding debt. It's a lot right now. And they have an aging population because most of their younger ones are so attracted by the American markets and the UK market, and they are running like they are finishing and they are running. And most of these young people, when they get there, they don't want to reproduce because of how tough things are, or they have 1 or 2 children. So guess what? Spain has sat down on the table. Who can come into our country and pay for visas at exorbitant prices? Nigerians and Africans. Which of these people come in and they are coming as skilled labor compared to other countries? Nigerians and Africans. So that's it. It's only from this country. You don't see an engineer from US say he's going to China, except he's just going to do something and come back. But you see somebody who has spent 5 years in the university, every year is dreaming of how he's going to work in a company in America. So that is who we are. And he's gathering money. His parents are selling houses. They are investing 30 million for him to relocate. So as people are hearing, Spain is the new place, they are excited. They are not even bothering to ask themselves, why do these people want you in their country? Tomorrow, would you become a second citizen? When Donald Trump is now passing laws that if you commit any crime now, your green card can be revoked. That means if it's now at the fingertips of US officials to see me and say, oh, Adetola, you have been a citizen for 10 years, and someone can even put a crime on my head, and my green card I've worked years for can be revoked for that. Nigerians won't ask themselves this question. I'm sure if you go to Spanish embassy now,
I think work migration is global. I don't think it's just African. Except that if you have read, for example,
yes, sir. But these are the countries that are migrating now.
The confessions of
India, China, those are the highest
economic hitman.
And they are the people that are paying so much to work for papers.
You will see that nations are migrating. Even the last attack that the US had in Iran, and I was watching a certain footages, and you see there's a whole lot of American engineers in Iran.
They were pulled.
Who are there even doing surveillance on behalf of their home government. It's not that they don't move, they move. They travel a lot. And if you go to India, for example, in short, my friend told me that there's a website that the government creates where Indians who are qualified, even up to what we call house help here, that they are qualified, they are profiled by the government, and nations actually apply and resource them from the official website, guaranteed by government. Pakistanis are moving in their number. Bangladesh, see them everywhere all over the world. So it's not only African that is migrating. A lot of people are migrating. A lot of intelligent people are moving. But you see, the difference here is, and I think that's what Priya was trying to speak to, that these guys are very strategic. That the movement is not just to say people are going away and then we get into controversy, just like the Moroccan tried to do to us, that two of our players were not proper Nigerians, and for that sake they want CAF to withdraw the victory and give it to them. Anyhow they want to get it. But you see, this is the issue, that when we are migrating, we must also migrate very properly and do it in such a way that government can guarantee us, not to give us money anyway, but that we are trained and we can be profiled, that when we go outside, we are going to represent the interest of the nation, still realizing that we are Nigerians, and our task is that we want to go get something and bring it home to make our home better for our children and our children's children. And I think that strategy is what we need to put in place in terms of our migration approach. But what my friend told me, that it's very important that you have 200 million people and most of them are below the age of 19. Invest heavily in them, train them, and then second them outside. And of course, what you get from diaspora remittances will be far more than what oil can give to you.
Okay, remember, this is Super Business Landscape. There is no better place to be to have this kind of discussion than on this table. My name is Chooks, John Rogers Chooks, and it's been my pleasure having you on the other side be part of this program today. So, Your Excellencies, lady and gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll do this again tomorrow. Remember, be nice. Doc.
Fellow viewers, I hope you have been enlightened as I am. I have learned so much this morning, and I also believe that you learn who come to this station, and let's continue to drive the conversation that make Nigeria better and greater. Remain blessed.
Priya?
Yeah, from me, thank you so much for watching. It's Oyin Priya Krumale. Do have yourself a splendid day ahead.
Like I always tell you, you should always make a conscious effort to build yourself and develop yourself, because development, or personal development is key. Thank you for watching. My name is Swift Aderito, and let's do this some other time.
Take Nigeria, because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, you know, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market, or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Super Business Landscape.